Hey guys, here's here, and I've been using my Microsoft Band daily for over 5 months now, and I never got around to the full review, so here is my very overdue, very extensive review. But first, let me shower. So the same thing plagues the second generation that plagued the first generation, bulk. It's a pretty thick, chunky device, especially for something that's meant to be worn essentially 24/7. But that's not to say it's terrible, and it has definitely improved over the first gen. The screen is now curved, making it more comfortable around the wrist, and the sides are much less rigid. In normal daily use, the Band 2 isn't too obtrusive to the point that I have to take it off, but for things like typing or writing or even weightlifting, it could get a little bit of a nuisance, but it wasn't the end of the world, and it wasn't that big of a deal that I couldn't wear it. The screen, like I said, is curved now and just as beautiful as the first gen, awesome colors, and definitely one of the band's strong points. Like I said, the colors are great. They're bright and they're vibrant, and it's visible fairly well in direct sunlight as long as you have the highest brightness setting. Navigation is swipe based, and the Windows 8-esque tiles are really simple, and there's nothing really to learn about it. There's the main power button on the bottom, as well as the action button, which allows you to scroll through quick stats on the main screen, as well as activate activities in the different modes. But be careful not to drop the band, as I dropped it from about 4 feet onto concrete, and both of these buttons stopped working, so I had to get a new one. Pairing to your Windows or iOS device is simple and quick, and the Microsoft Health app is really clean and intuitive and allows you to customize your band and its settings. It also, along with MicrosoftHealth.com, gives you access to all the data collected. Your home screen is the quick view for all your activities and their respective data. Now you can get any type of notifications that your phone gets by turning on the notification center tile, but on an iPhone there's no way to respond. But if you're using an Android or Windows phone, the experience is definitely richer, including access to Cortana. Now as a runner, I bought the Band 2 as well as the original Band because it had GPS, something my Apple Watch sadly lacks, and since my first run on November 1st with the Band 2, I've put in just under 1,000 miles, and I'm impressed by this watch. I'd say about 85% of the time it took between 10 and 45 seconds to get the GPS signal, about 10% of the time it took above 45 seconds, and about 5% of the time it just took too long, so I started the run, it kept searching for the GPS and found it about 3 miles in. And the data that was collected was very good. It was pretty accurate. When it found the GPS signal, when it locked it in before you started your run, it never varied more than 3/100ths of a mile away from my coach's TomTom GPS watch, which is really good. It's what I was looking for, and I had a lot of trust with this watch for the distance and the pace. Now every mile the band gives a soft vibration and then tells you the time for that mile, and then on the main screen you can see all the different data such as your distance, your time, your calories, all that stuff, and you can configure which options are shown on the screen when you're running. Now the data collected after my run was satisfactory, but it left room to be desired and it left room for improvement. It collected all the basics such as duration, calories, elevation, pace, heart rate, etc., as well as graphs of elevation, pace, and heart rate, and UV exposure, but I never really paid attention to that. Now I wish there were extra small things like weather so I can look back at the conditions and remember what that run was like. I wish there's the ability to add notes so you can add notes about the workout, how it went, how you felt, as well as maybe shoe tracking so you can see which shoes you used on that run and keep track of the miles. And then I also wish there was more precise scrubbing. So when I'm looking through the graphs, I wish I could see at what point did I start slowing down, what point specifically did the elevation change when compared to my heart rate, and stuff like that. I just wish there was more precise scrubbing in the graphs. Another thing that I didn't like was that there was no splits in the GPS mode. So if you're doing a run, an interval workout, you can't do splits. The only way to do this is in the stopwatch mode, so no GPS. And when you're doing it this way, you can only get up to 8 splits, which made no sense to me because it's pretty much useless when I'm doing any type of track workout when there's only 8 splits. So Microsoft, I'd love to see you fix both of those things. But despite those small things, I was really satisfied with this Band 2. As you can tell, I put in a lot of miles with this, and I'm satisfied with it. I'm going to keep using it, and when the Band 3 comes out, I'm going to get that and keep using it. Microsoft, if you're watching, I'd love if you could fix those small things and add those small things. That would really make a big improvement for me. Now, heart rate is another important measurement for runners and just everybody. I don't really have anything to compare it to other than my Apple Watch, and I can say that it never varied more than 5 beats per minute away from my Apple Watch. Usually it's about 3, so that's pretty good, and I can say that if these two are similar, then I can trust that they both be accurate. Battery life was definitely something that left room for improvement on the Band 2. Now, Microsoft claimed 2 days of battery life, but that's not likely. When I went on a run and I did workouts with this band, It lasted a day and changed, nothing more really than that. So I usually would charge this while I was showering and then maybe when I was eating dinner, and that was enough to get me through the next day, because I did sleep with this, because this is a band that's meant to be worn pretty much 24/7. So Microsoft, I'd love to see if you could make that 2-day battery life, you could really hit that 2 days. But for now, it's not a big deal that I have to charge it while I'm showering. Now, of course, the Band 2 has other features such as golf tracking, but I don't golf, as well as weight training. And despite having a membership to Planet Fitness for a year now, I haven't gone in like 6 months, because I usually just stick to push-ups and sit-ups and core. I have lifted with this a few times. It worked fine. During curls, it could get annoying because it was pretty tight and cumbersome, but it wasn't a big deal. In weightlifting, it worked fine. Now, there's no swimming mode. If you are a swimmer, keep that in mind. And there's also no outgoing Bluetooth. Of course, it connects to your phone with Bluetooth, but you can't pair this to another Bluetooth device like my Jaybird Blue Buds headphones like I can on my Apple Watch. And there's also no onboard storage, so you can't put music on. So Microsoft, I'd love if you could add Bluetooth so I can connect it to my earphones, as well as storage so I can listen to music while I'm running without needing my phone, just like I can do on my Apple Watch here. So Microsoft did a really good job with the Band 2. I'd love to see it get a little bit slimmer, that's the biggest thing, as well as better battery life, and then more options when running, some of the things I mentioned before. But apart from those, it's an excellent choice for anybody looking for an all-in-one fitness device that also is smart. If you enjoyed this review, the best way to let me know is with a thumbs up and a comment. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and I do get back to pretty much every comment that is left on my channel. If you're interested in buying this, I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.